Do your thing, 21. Do your thing. Alright, we all know that song is a little sus, but anyways, what's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today I have a story time for you. This is going to be the first time that I ever smoked salvia, and how I actually got the name Ananka's Bazaar from smoking this herb. Now, if you don't know what salvia is, I'll give you a brief description. It's known as Salvia divinorum. It's in the family of sage, also known as the diviner's sage or the sage of the shepherdess. It's a plant that only grows naturally in one place in the world, in the Mazateca region of Mexico. It's been used by shamans for hundreds to thousands of years. The traditional way they get is they get the leaves, straight off the fresh plant, they roll it up, and they tuck it in their cheek and they chew on it, which is called quitting. And it's just like how for tobacco, you can snort tobacco, you can smoke tobacco, but you can dip tobacco. So basically they're dipping the salvia. They put it in their cheek, they chew on it, and they allow their saliva to get in it. And basically the chemical in salvia that gets you high is known as salvinorin A. And so just like for any drug, it can either work through your nasal membranes, your salivary glands, or orally in your stomach, or you can smoke it. All these different ways. I mean, you can plug some drugs. People be putting drugs up their butthole. Not for me, but hey, you do you. You know what I'm saying? So, but what we did, just like how we did with DMT, because we're America, so we do crazy shit. You feel me? So basically, just like with ayahuasca, how at first it starts off this brew, you drink it, you have this crazy trip, and it's oral DMT. Same thing with salvia. They take it orally by quitting it and allowing it to absorb through their mouth. But so what we traditionally get in America, you would buy as a salvia extract. Just like if you've ever been to a smoke shop and you've seen they call it like purple sticky salvia, I think is the brand name. They have tons of different brands. There's like salviaseller.com, salviadragon.com. But basically, like I said, salvinorin A is the chemical that gets you high. So they extract the salvinorin A. And so, for example, this right here is 20 grams of 20X. And, just so you guys can see what it looks like, it really just looks like some Reggie, honestly. Like, you wouldn't really be able to tell what it was just by looking at it. But they extract the salvinorin A. And, with a regular leaf, that's the average dose. That would be considered 0x. But this right here is 20x extract, so it's 20 times stronger than what you would get on a natural leaf. And what you do is you put it in your bong or your bowl. Preferably you would put it in your bong, and you would use a torch, because you really want to vaporize the salvinorin. You want it to burn as hot as possible. When you're hitting the bowl, you want to keep the lighter on it the whole time until it's completely ash. You really just want to burn the shit out of it, basically. You want it to vaporize. And it generally lasts 10 to 15 minutes. There are some common aspects with salvia. Some people turn into different objects. Like you could smoke salvia and then you'll become like a table, and you'll be this table for like 40 years. And to you, if you're someone who hasn't done psychedelics, I know this doesn't really make sense, but when you're on something like that, like time totally goes out the window. It really doesn't exist. And I know this sounds like some crazy psychedelic idea, but time is just something we've invented. In this 3D realm, we live a linear life, like every second, and then in 2 minutes it'll be 2 minutes, and then in a year it'll have been a year, and we live our lives day by day, year by year until we die. But really, when you take some of these psychedelics that take you out of this third dimension, or even fourth dimension, because some people consider time the fourth dimension. But however you want to put it, when it takes you out of time, and you can see time as basically an infinite loop, like you can go anywhere in time. It's not just this straight line, but time is just this infinite. It's impossible to describe. But anyways, so you smoke salvia, generally lasts 10 to 15 minutes. The common things people see is you'll turn into objects. You'll see reality unzip. lots of visuals that have to do with like escalators or just very like machine like circus like. Many people compare it to DMT. It's almost like, DMT is the profound God spirit molecule. It's a traditional psychedelic, and then salvia, which is a dissociative in the same class as like ketamine, PCP, nitrous oxide, DXM. They say it's like the evil, twisted, dysphoric sister of DMT. But I'll get to my story. But so just let me try to set the stage. I want to say this was during my junior year of high school, so this is probably like 4 years back, maybe three. I'm working at Walmart at the time. I want to say I'm like 17 years old. So it's midnight. I get out from school. I go to work at Walmart. I get off at Walmart at like 12 at midnight. I had just finally got this package the day before because I'd been researching salvia. I'd been really wanting to do it. Like I've been preparing myself for it. Like I don't know, like it was just calling me. It was just one of those times when like, some drugs you'll know like when it comes to DMT, like sometimes you'll be nervous. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. Like I don't know if I'm ready right now. But when you're ready, you will know. You'll just wake up one day and you'll be like, it's calling me. Like, it's my time to do this. So I'd been preparing for this salvia trip for a long time. I had ordered it. It took like 2 or 3 months for it to get to my house. So I finally get it. I get it the day before. I stash it in my room, go to work, come home. It's like 12 at midnight. I smoked it literally right there in the corner of my bedroom, if you can see, right by the door. So basically, I get home, I load up my little pipe, which isn't preferable. Like I said, you want to get a bong and like a butane torch, but really, a lighter and a pipe will work. So I get my pipe, I sit down in the corner of my room, and the mistake most people make when they smoke salvia is it's because, people don't do their research anymore. Their friends tell them this. They're like, oh my God, it's going to be so crazy. It's just like weed, but it's a little trippy. And that's why there's so many bad trips nowadays. And that's why there's so much bad, like stereotype to psychedelics and mind-altering drugs because there's so much misinformation going around. There's no proper use. People don't care about set and setting. So I know how powerful salvia is. Like I said, this is on the level of DMT. Even with DMT, you need, generally the rule is you take 3 full hits to get to breakthrough. With salvia, one fat bowl, and you're fucked, bro. You're out. You're out of body instantly. So on some levels, it's even more powerful. To each his own. It depends on your opinion. But so I get my pipe. I have 10x salvia. So like I explained earlier, this is 10 times stronger than the regular salvia leaf. I just get the smallest pinch because I want to start off real small. I don't want to go fully into it. I know that's how you end up with a bad trip. And keep them, at this time I'm really experienced with psychedelics. I've done acid and DMT and mushrooms and all these things. So, I think I'm prepared for it. I mean, you never really are. As prepared as I can be, I guess. No one's really prepared for it. But I sit down in the corner, I get the smallest little pinch of salvia, and I rip the whole bowl. I hold it in for 30 seconds. I blow it out. And nothing really happens. I'm like, I want to wait. I want to give it a couple minutes to like see if, maybe I just took too little or maybe it has a delayed onset. So I wait and nothing happens. So I'm like, all right, I'll just pack a little bit of a bigger bowl. So this is the second bowl. I get a slightly bigger pinch. I put it in, rip the whole thing, turn it to ash, hold it in for 30 seconds again, blow it out, wait. Nothing happens. So, at this point, I'm just like, all right, I really got to go for it. So I basically, it's a small pipe. It's like this big. But so I pack the whole bowl full. I'm like, all right, this time I'm already past the anxiety. I really want this trip to happen. I've already done these little tester shots. So it's like, all right, this time we're really going for it. So I pack the whole bowl, 10x salvia. I rip the whole bowl, ash it in one hit, hold it in, 30 seconds, blow it out. I feel a little weird at first, like almost like a DXM, like when DXM starts to come on. And it's as if, imagine your body is split into a left and a right, literally right down the middle. I'm crouching on the floor, laying, smoking my pipe in the corner, and I feel the entire left half of my body just start going ch, 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 ch. Like, when you're on a roller coaster and you feel it going on the tracks, and every track you hear it and it goes ch, 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 ch. It's exactly like that, but literally just the left side of my body. And every time it goes ch, 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 I feel myself getting pulled slightly to the left. So this starts going in this like ch, 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 ch. And I look to the left, and all of a sudden my entire vision zooms out. And at this point, it's like third person perspective, but it's not like I'm looking at my body. It's all of a sudden my vision, when you look around, here's the wall, here's in front of me. It's all like it's zoomed out into this window, like this square window. And all around this window, it looks like a railroad track. Like, all the little wood planks with the metal tracks lining up, all in a perfect square. And I see this bus driving on this railroad track. And, every time it goes over a track, that's every time my body pulls to the left. So the bus is riding over these tracks and it's pulling my body to the left. Somehow my body is associated with this bus. And on every single track, there's a letter. And it spells out a sentence. But I can't, even to this day, I can't remember what this sentence said. But I know that and it's a school bus. And on the school bus, it says, Ananka bus. And I don't even know, at this point, I didn't know what Ananka meant. I've never even heard of the word Ananka. So it goes around, it writes out this whole sentence along the train tracks. And then as it finally makes its way all around this window with train tracks, I look at my foot. And I see that this train track, I'm connected to this train track. Like this train track is part of me. And I watch this bus go up my leg. And I'm laying against the wall. And this bus comes up. It zips me in. Like I literally feel it. Like how a zipper looks? Like it has the two sides. And you got the zipper in the middle. And it connects. Like teeth. Like that connect in the middle. So literally this bus rides up my leg, zipping me into the wall, and I feel it go all the way up my leg, all the way up the side of my body, around my head to the other side. I remember at the last moment, I look at the door. The door's right there, and I look at it, and it's almost like if you've ever seen like Yu-Gi-Oh! And how Maximilian Pegasus has Toon World, and like even in regular cartoons, like everything is alive. Like it's just like Beauty and the Beast, like the teacups are alive and they have smiles on their faces, and the piano can talk and it has eyes and a smile. And I look at this door and it's smiling at me, and I start laughing, and I'm like, what's going on? Because this is another thing with Salvia, like people say this, but you literally don't even remember you're on a drug. Like 1 minute I'm sober, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have this Salvia trip, we'll see where it goes, like I smoke it, and then the next minute it's like you forget everything and you're instantly just thrown into this world. So I look at the door and it has a smile and eyes on its face, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm just like, what's going on? And then it looks at me and it's like, oh, everything's gonna be all right. And then I look back and then I just feel this, the bus zips me all the way into the wall. And I remember everything just went black. But it was really peaceful. Like a lot of times when people have a Salvia trip, it's very dysphoric and they don't like it. But this whole time, it was just like I just thought this shit was crazy. Like I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm watching this bus that says Ananka bus zip around my whole window frame of vision, and then it zips me up into the wall, and then everything goes black and I'm zipped into this wall. And then I wake up and everything's back to normal. And so, I'm just like, what the fuck? That was crazy. I get in my bed, I turn on some TV, and I'm just like trying to process what the fuck happened. I'm thinking about, I'm like Ananka. I'm like, what even is Ananka, right? So the next day I wake up, I got work. I want to say it's like a Saturday. So I don't have school, but I still have work. But work starts at like 4 to 12, right? So I wake up, I got the whole house to myself. And, I just got this salvia. I've been waiting to smoke this for so long, and I just had that crazy experience last night. So I'm like, all right, I want to do this again. Like, let's see where this goes, right? So I go out to my living room. I sit on the couch. I get the same pipe. I got my 10x salvia. Um, I don't know if anything was on the TV. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't, but I wasn't really paying attention. And so I do the same thing, of course, with such a powerful drug, even though I've just done it, I'm still anxious about it. So I get on the couch and I'm like, I get my little tester. I just get a little pinch again, smoke it, does nothing. I get a second one, smoke it, does nothing. So I'm like, all right, we're in the same place as we were last night. Let's just go for it. So I'm sitting on my couch out in the living room. I packed the bowl full of this 10x salvia. Smoke it, ash it, hold it in for 30 seconds, blow out. And like I told you with the first trip, at first my vision zoomed out and I saw this railroad track that was my vision. But this time everything was right here. I was still here in my body. But literally I smoked it, I blow it out and I look and all of a sudden I see the same bus, the bus that says Ananka bus on it. It pulls into my fucking like literally like out of the wall. This bus just comes into my living room, right here in front of me. It says Ananka bus. It's like you're a little kid again, and the school bus comes up, and it's right here in front of my face while I'm sitting on the couch. The doors open, and then all of a sudden I see to my left. It was like if you've ever seen Adventure Time, the Gumball Guardians. They're like two giant fucking gumball machines. It looks like Benson from Regular Show. So on my left, there's a pink one. It's like a woman, like, I don't know how to describe this, but it's like as soon as I smoke the salvia, you're in a total different mindset. It's like it unlocks memories you didn't know that you even knew. So I look at this giant pink gumball machine woman, and in my mind, I know her name is Mrs. Slappers, and I know I've seen her before. Like, I know her. And on my right, there's a giant blue male gumball machine, and his name is Mr. Slappers. And I know that I know them both. Like, they're my teachers. They're like my spirit guides or something, because they pick me up, and they put me in this bus. Keep in mind, I'm still laying in the couch. So the bus doors close. It drives off. And then I start watching, like, you know how, when the walls meet, there's like a corner. And then where the roof meets, it's like all the geometry, like it meets in the edges of your room. So I watch it's almost literally like the walls and the roof were made of paper, because I just watched them start to just open up like paper. And it gives me this glimpse of this, like literally the most childlike, nostalgic, like cartoon world you could imagine. Like everything that has to do with just cartoons and being a kid and, Candyland and like that whole aesthetic, that whole visual, like just, like everyone had that rug that had the little school bus in the town, like just that whole kid aesthetic. And it's like this perfect cartoon world. And so I'm laying on the couch, even though they put me in this bus, but I'm also laying on the couch. And so they pick the couch up. Mrs. Slappers on the left picks up the couch from one end. Mr. Slappers picks up the couch from one end. And they pick me up, and it's like the couch becomes this cocoon. And so, they're walking, and they're walking, and they're walking. They're bringing me almost into this cartoon world, but not just quite, because it was almost enough to fully break through and go to their world, but it stopped. Because literally, at first, like we're walking, and then I look to the left, and Miss Slapper stops walking, and they stop acknowledging me. Like at the time, we were like communicating mentally, and they're like, it's like telepathic communication, and they're telling me all these things, like, oh, we're your spirit guides, and welcome back, and all these things, but then so they stop, and so and literally imagine if you're watching me, like I literally get up off the couch, and I walk to the corner of the room where Miss Slappers is. And I'm just looking up at her, and I'm like, yo, I'm like, Miss Slappers. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you stopping? And she's ignoring me. She's not acknowledging me. She stopped walking. And then so I walk to the right, and I go look at Mr. Slappers. I'm like, hey, I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, Miss Slappers is ignoring me. I'm like, I'm like, why did everything stop? And they're both ignoring me. And keep in mind, like if you were watching me do this, you're like, this guy's cracked out. Like I'm getting up off the couch, I'm talking to the walls and shit. But like when you're in that state, like this shit is realer than real. Like it's real. Like this reality that we live in right now, it's like a shitty version of reality. Like when you smoke DMT or salvia or mushrooms, it lifts the veil from your eyes, and you really see like real reality, like what's going on behind the scenes. And so I'm like, Miss Slappers, I mean, what's going on? Why'd you stop? So I lay back down on the couch. And basically the message was, it was like, you're not ready to fully enter into our world yet. So I lay back onto the couch, which I said was like a cocoon. And they zip this couch up over me, like as if I'm in a sleeping bag. And they zip the couch up over me. And I'm back just like last night, how they zip me up into the wall. They zip me up into the couch. And everything goes black. And everything's peaceful. And I don't know how long it was, but then boom, I wake back up and everything's normal. Everything's back to regular. And so both times it was weird, like both times I saw that bus. The first time I saw it going down the track, I saw it said Ananka bus. I'm like, what is Ananka? And then the second time, the same exact bus pulls up, says Ananka bus. So I go to look it up, and it turns out the word Ananka is a Hindu word, and it means limitless or infinite. And this blew my fucking mind. I'm like, holy, I've never even heard of this word. I just smoked salvia. It blessed me with this word I've never heard of, and it happens to be this mystical fucking Hindu word that means limitless and infinite. And I knew that's my bus, and it's like, these were my spirit teachers, and from life to life, it's like, just like at school, like you get on the school bus and you go to school and you learn, and it's just like how, in this life we come here, like just like they say, like we are divine beings, we are limitless souls, but inhabiting this human body, and we're here just to learn, to reach enlightenment, whatever your belief is, but to reach enlightenment, nirvana, to, just to learn and learn more truth and experience the infiniteness of the universe. And so, I looked it up and it says limitless and shit. I'm like, whoa. So immediately, like I knew, I'm like, Ananka, I'm like, that bus is for me. Like I am Ananka. And so that's really, this was 2 trip reports in one. But I really consider them one trip because they were really connected. It was like the first trip was just the introduction, and then the second trip really like brought me into that world. And that was, like I said, 4 years ago, and I haven't even done salvia since. I've smoked DMT countless times. I love to do mushrooms, but like I haven't even gone back and touched salvia. And so I don't know, man. It was just a crazy trip. But this was my first trip report that I'm sharing that personally was mine. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it. And if you want to hear more trip reports from me and from what I've experienced, just go in the comments and let me know that you liked the video. Share with us your salvia trip reports if you have anything to relate. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Happy to share with you.